26 big wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Barry, England, ladies and gentlemen, here's the skilled and experienced former WBA super middleweight champion of the world, Scottt Kvigg.
Right, lads, you know, expect from you both, you're obeying the instructions at all times. When I tell you to break, you both break clean. Defend yourselves at all times, and the best luck to you both. Touch gloves. Well done.
One of those terrific matchups has had the trade buzzing, debating, analysing, chewing over since it was first put together. The come-forward box puncher Scottt Kvigg, former 8 stone 10 world champion, hard man, freakishly fit. But he has been inactive through injury and a loss of momentum as well. In with a busier, sharp, fresher and pretty fast, yet still slightly unknown quantity of the Dublin buzzsaw, Jono Carroll. We've had spice, needle. It's a genuine 50-50. We can't wait for this match.
Yeah, as I said, a lot of people split down the middle how they see this fight going. A real crossroads fight. The proven guy, Scottt Kvigg, world champion, former world champion, and the guy who's fought for the world title and came up short, but will have improved from that in Jono Carroll. And already Jono Carroll here looking to target the body early on.
Yep, couple of left hands to the body from Jono Carroll. The southpaw with King Kong emblazoned on the waistband, both in black and gold. And a lot of talk beforehand, especially from Carroll. Quigg hasn't enjoyed that, but we know the sort of character he is. But has he still got the spring in his step? Has he still got the skills and the reflexes now at 31?
Yeah, and is he as physically imposing up at super featherweight as he once was down at super bantamweight? As a super bantamweight, he was huge for the weight. He was physically strong. He hit very, very hard. Has he carried that power up? I'm not so sure.
Well, Carroll's looked the bigger man in the build-up when they've come head-to-head. How will this unfold? Two high-class operators. A stumble there from Quigg. Was that a balance thing, or was he feet tangled there just momentarily?
I think Bono boxing really well here, Jono Carroll. The straight shots, that nice little crafty uppercut through the middle too.
This is a really confident start from Jono Carroll, on the back foot, picking his shots, and a good body shot there, and Quigg just dabbing away at his nose. He's had that broken, of course, against Oscar Valdez. He's been through the wars. And is this going to be a case of the younger man at the right time here?
Well, I think that's what a lot of people think, Adam, and you know, that's been the general consensus. A lot of people picking Jono Carroll, even though Quigg's the former world champion and the guy who's fought at the higher level, certainly more proven. But I think, oh, good shot from Carroll. That was a beautiful left hand.
Precision from Carroll, who looks super sharp early on in this 12-rounder. Quigg yet to settle.
Yeah, looks sharp here. Carroll slipping inside, landing that uppercut to the body. His straight shots down the middle are very good. His movement, brilliant first round here from Jono Carroll. He's outboxing Scottt Kvigg here.
Another body shot as well. It's been a fantastic opening round for the Dublin southpaw, who's backing up his posts. A long way to go, but he'll take that. Liam, where's Stephen? I'll tell you what, most fighters are here. Josh Taylor, Lawrence Okoli. I've seen Luke Campbell for this, but could you have predicted such a one-sided first round to Carroll as Quigg tries to get going at the beginning of the second?
Well, I'm not shocked if I'm honest, Adam. You know, Quigg's had 18 months out. He's 31 years old. A lot of people debating on what he's got left, and you know, even when you're early on in your career and you're sharp, to have 18 months out, you're going to have a lot of ring rust. So, you know, I think he needs to really step it up here now, Carroll, because Quigg, because Jono Carroll's confident here, and the last thing Quiggs need is Jono Carroll really getting his tail up.
I think Joe Gallagher's told him to go right out, take centre ring, and try and back Jono Carroll up That's what Quigg's attempting with the combinations. Fight number 40 for Scott Kvigg. He's only ever been beaten twice. Once for the man just behind us, Carl Frampton, on that huge night here. That unification which didn't catch fire, but Quigg never got going. He's got to tonight here. He's got to really try and back up Carroll, stop this movement.
Yeah, but Carroll boxing well, his movement's really good, he's picking his shots, looking for the openings, that left uppercut into the body, he's landing the shot, and what he's doing as well, when he lands his shots, Jono Carroll, he rolls out, he doesn't stand there admiring his work, he doesn't stand in front of Quigg waiting for the return or the counter punches, he rolls out, gets out the way.
Right hand from Quigg, applause from Joe Gallagher in the corner. He's not with Freddie Roach, he was with Joe earlier on in his career for a great deal of time, but he's been out the wild card with Freddie. Now back to what he once had. How will that manifest itself as the rounds tick along?
Quigg applying a lot of pressure here with his feet, his presence, he's getting in close, he's feinting, he's trying to set a trap here, he's trying to lure Carroll into making a mistake that he can counter-punch him for, but, you know, Carroll holding his feet here and his good head movement as well.
One thing that Carroll has never been is a dynamic puncher. Only 3 knockouts on his record, but he believes he'll get one tonight in round number 8. He's been very vocal about that, joking about his feather fists, and he says he'll keep chipping away, and there's another body shot from Carroll.
You know, there's no doubt that Scott Kvigg is the bigger puncher of the two. Jono Carroll, more of a boxer and a volume puncher, throws a lot of shots, doesn't load up, but just keeps throwing plenty of them. But he's boxing well here, Carroll. Quigg certainly, this is a better round from him, landing a few hard shots. That was a good right hand from Quigg. This is a better round from him, but Carroll's still boxing well here.
The long beard, the smile from Carroll. Better second from Quigg after a pretty troublesome first round. That effort against Tevin Farmer out in Philadelphia. Matt and I were there, and he boxed really well. Jono Carroll even won some rounds, and then he went out to spar Tevin Farmer afterwards. So, you know, utilised more experience on the road, and he's been telling us in the build-up, this is his time now, this is his opportunity.
It was a big step up when he fought Tevin Farmer. He would never been anywhere near that level, and, you know, he came up short that night, but he'll have learned so much from that loss against Tevin Farmer. It was a valiant effort. He applied himself, you know, he put a lot into that fight, but, you know, the slick little moves and everything that Tevin Farmer was using that night, Jono Carroll will have looked at that, and he'll want to incorporate that into his style and into his arsenal, and going out there and sparring with him, that was an intelligent and a good move from him, and he'll, again, only benefit from all of that.
Didn't look quite as good against Jean Frenoir in that draw in Sheffield, but he's settling down. Carroll now Quigg trying to attack the body, but he just loses balance again. The rhythm's not there for Scott Quigg, and Carroll growing in confidence. And although this is the Manchester crowd, there's plenty who've travelled for Jono Carroll because he's so popular.
Yeah, he's got big support in here, and they're making him very vocal here, and they've got a lot to cheer on. Quigg getting closer with his feet, but I think the movement of Carroll, the little pivots to the side, he's struggling with that a little bit, Quigg.
Yep, he's being picked off, Quigg. There's that head movement in those super bantamweight days when he was really in charge and looking a very solid world champion. Just a smile from Quigg, as if to say, you got me there. And he is. Carroll.
He's beating him to the punch here, he's outmaneuvering him, he's outthinking him, and he's quicker to the punch, and Quigg just struggling to pin him down here. Good left hook there from Quigg.
Yeah, better work with the left hand from Quigg. Just not quite got his timing. The accuracy. And the movement of Carroll working well over the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, good movement, good feints as well. He just keeps offsetting Quigg there. Quigg trying to read him, but trying to get closer with the feet as well. But again, Carroll spins out.
Great mobility from Jono Carroll, judging the distance well. And at the moment, outclassing the man who 3-4 years ago would have outclassed him. Big fighters as well.
Seconds up.
And it's, at the moment, it's Jono Carroll who's bossing this.
Yeah, bossing it, controlling things. And I think the speed of his movement, how good he is at getting off those angles, I think that's what Quigg's struggling with a little bit here. He can't quite get to grips with Carroll's movement and the angles that he's giving him.
And the southpaw style as well. He's not fought that many southpaws down the line. Scottt Kvigg, I remember very early on in his career, he was put on his backside in the first round by a journeyman southpaw. He won that in a couple. Might be struggling with that slightly, but he's very experienced, Quigg. He's had a lot of sparring in that wild card gym out in LA. We've loved his attitude and better uppercuts from Quigg. He will give it everything here.
Without a shadow of a doubt, one thing about Scottt Kvigg is he's got loads of heart. He showed that in the Valdez fight, the mental toughness, the grit and determination, dug deep, broke a nose early on and really stayed in there and toughed it out. And power now, not up a super featherweight.
He had that bad bicep injury as well that he's had to recover from, which meant this match was postponed from the Saudi Arabian bill till tonight. And it's just more time out of the ring for Quigg. More success for Jono.
Nations together. You can just see the confidence now in Jono Carroll. There's that as he rolls out of distance, then lands the straight left, then rolls out of the way, and then pulls out of range. You know, really
super featherweight fight. Quigg has done 12 rounds on numerous occasions. He has that pedigree and the knowledge, but Jono Carroll is catching him much more than we've ever seen Quigg caught before. And this is the beginning of the 6th round, and Quigg's in real trouble here. The referee's going to have to take a closer look here. He's got to find something, Quigg. Has he got the power, though?
I'm not sure he does, not up a super featherweight. He was a massive puncher down at super bantamweight, but Jono Carroll's always looked really sturdy around the chin, and even though he's not a big concussive, one-punch power in Jono Carroll, it's the accumulative effect. It's the fact that he's hitting Quigg so often here, and I think he's starting to demoralise him now as well.
You know what, this is getting quite tough to watch, remembering Scottt Kvigg and the brilliance he had at super bantamweight, and he's such a proud guy, he's such a warrior. And you just, it's tough, isn't it? But Jono Carroll is boxing quite brilliantly.
Yeah, there's almost a swagger to Jono Carroll now. His confidence is sky high, his tail is really up here, and boxing so well.
Quigg trying to get a combination out, working the Carroll body. I mean, there's just been no quitting Scottt Kvigg, has there, through the years. Such a tough and honest operator, he really is. And he's still trying to find a right hand to... It just doesn't seem there, Matt.
No, he's looking to try and... He needs a big round. He knows he needs to try and turn things around here. He's trying to will himself on. He's trying to plant his feet, and he's looking for some power in that right hand. He's trying to... He knows he needs something big here, but Jono Carroll just boxing so well, and I just can't see Quigg turning this around.
Gets his hands up there, Scottt Kvigg. The jab not really working though, and still that bounce to Jono Carroll, and a left hand and another one. This is a super performance from Jono Carroll, and Scottt Kvigg stuck in the mud at times, trying desperately. There's the spirit from Quigg.
Yeah, I mean, Carroll doesn't carry devastating one-punch power, but he's accurate, and he's hitting Quigg very often here, and he's confident, he's feinting him, he's changing things up, and, you know, this is a hard night for Scottt Kvigg.
Jab to the body from Carroll, who's just boxed beautiful. But you're talking about the accumulative effect. He's been hit a lot tonight already, Quigg. Coming out for the second half of this, a long way to go. Can Scottt Kvigg somehow turn this around? Because Jono Carroll is in total control.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a one-sided beatdown really early on. I mean, Carroll came out and just set the tone from the first round, was really sharp. Backhand straight down the middle, body shots, even those backhand screw shots through the middle. His movement, his boxing, absolutely top-class performance from Jono Carroll. But also, Scott Kвигg, to me, just has that look of a fighter that can't pull the trigger. Oh, big shot from Carroll there.
Right hand, and back he goes to the jab, to head and body. There's a left from Quigg, but he'll need more than that.
Again, just falling short there, Quigg, out of range. He just hasn't been able to do anything really with the movement of Carroll. He's been chasing him around all night. He's got closer at times. When he gets into range, he hesitates that little bit long, and then Carroll just touches him with a jab or a backhand, and again spins out, gets back into the centre of the ring. And like I say, Quigg's just been a step behind Carroll all night. And you know, I think the old age, the long hard career, the gym wars out in Los Angeles, I think they've all taken a toll on Scott Kвигg. And you know, we talk about timing in fights, and you know, this looks like it's Jono Carroll's time here.
Started at 6, Jono Carroll, time out in Australia, where he turned over and came back, fought in prize fighter. It's been a bit stop-start, but look at that with the right hand. Maybe this is the night that we really believe in Jono Carroll. And if he can get through Scott Kвигg here, which it looks like he's on course to do, surely he'll work his way towards another world title shot. But you're right, he's learning, isn't he?
Yeah, but I can see the improvements in him from the Palmer fight. I know Tevin Palmer was on top of his game and he was a slick southpaw, and this is a different fight. But I can see the adjustments that he's made and the things he's learned from that fight. He's realised he has to pick his shots more, he has to be more clever, more be careful with his shot selection. I think with Tevin Palmer, he had a lot of will, he had a lot of work rate, but he was missing a lot. I think he's gone back and looked at that performance, and he's worked on a lot of things in the gym, and he's really implementing them here tonight. Lovely body shot there from Carroll.
Beautiful combination to head and body from Carroll. And if he did have more power, Scott Kвигg would have been stopped by now. Kвигg hanging in there. Well, he's been hit more tonight, Scott Kвигg, than I've ever seen.
Yeah, lovely backhand again there from Carroll. Really boxing with so much confidence now.
I think he could be stopped here. Thanks, Cole.
I think he's an excellent analyst, Carl Frampton. I think he's really good, and I think he's got that absolutely spot on. And of course, he fought Scott Kвигg in one of the big height fights. It was a great build-up. It didn't really deliver in the ring. Carl got the win. Kвигg didn't get going for the first 4 or 5 rounds after this. He's tried tonight to get going, but Jono Carroll hasn't let him here. And I agree, it's pretty painful for Scott Kвигg fans, this, and for Joe in the corner and all his close friends. Even you know, you've been around the camp.
Yeah, I know Scott, I know how much he wants him, his desire is second to none, and his toughness and his grit and his heart. You know, he was so tough in the Valdez fight, but that was a tough fight for him. That would put a lot of miles on the clock. I don't know what it's like sparring out in the wild card. You know, there's no prisoners taken, and you know, Scott, he'd have aged a lot over there these last few years, and he's 31 years old now. I just think he looks to me like an old fighter in there, and that's taking nothing away from Jono Carroll. I think he's a very much an improved fighter. I think he's learned a lot from the Tevin Palmer fight, and he's boxing absolutely brilliant here tonight. But I just think Kвигg is not the fighter he was.
This the round that Jono Carroll predicted he would stop Scott Kвигg. He said often he doesn't think of a knockout because of the lack of them on the record, but he said this, he just felt that he would be winning this comfortably, which he is, and this would be about the time he'd stop him.
Yeah, I mean, Jono Carroll's not a big puncher, and I could see Kвигg maybe toughing this out because he'll really dig in and he's full of grit, but I'd probably like to see Kвигg get pulled out now, if I'm honest. You know, he's a brave fighter, he's never going to quit, but he hasn't won a round here, and he's taking more shots, body shots as well. He's took a lot of body shots here tonight, Kвигg.
Whipping in the uppercuts. Yep, body shots, you're right. They take their toll, they take the effect, and look at that with the jab as well. He just can't move out of the way like he used to.
No, as I say, I'm repeating myself a bit here, but we call it, you can't pull the trigger. In boxing, we say, you know, he can't pull the trigger anymore, and that's exactly what it is with Scott Kвигg. You know, you have the brain and you can see the moves, but the body won't react quick enough.
And it's been a brilliant career, I have no doubt about that. Scott Kвигg has given us so many great nights, and still he tries, but it is a losing battle. There's body shots again from Jono Carroll.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the reddening down the side of Scott Kвигg, the amount of body shots he's taken. Yeah, this is tough watching now if you're a Scott Kвигg fan. I'd like to see Joe Gallagher pull him out at the end of this round.
Oh, big right hand from Jono Carroll. He walks straight into that. Kвигg, and Carroll now might make that knockout prediction come true. The bell's going to come any second, but these are really bad moments for Scott Kвигg. Pulling him out. There's trainers and fighters around us at ringside who I think would make that call. What would you do, Matt? Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't won a round on my card. I don't see more beaten up here. I can't see any sense in this fight going on any longer for Scott Kвигg.
Yeah, pretty sad, pretty painful to watch if you're a Scott Kвigg fan, but I hope you're also enjoying the performance that Jono Carroll is putting on the big stage. He said he'd grasp this opportunity. Into the 9th we go, and it has been utterly dominant from Jono Carroll.
Yeah, brilliant performance from Carroll. I feel if he can really, you know, turn the screw here, I think he can get that stoppage.
There's a big conversation going on in the blue corner. Anthony Crolla alongside Joe Gallagher. Crolla, a long-time stablemate of Scott Kвигg, and I wonder if the towel might go in.
Oh, getting outboxed here, peppered with those southpaw jabs. Getting hit with so many shots here, Kвигg cannot get out the way. Reflexes have gone here, I think, and I think this fight should be stopped now.
Again, Crolla's on his feet and he's going round to Joe. And they're talking to the Smith brothers. They all care deeply about Scott Kвигg, and Jono Carroll is teeing off on him. A body shot as well. Is this the end of the road? And what a road it's been for Scott Kвigg. A brilliant boxing adventure. But tonight, it's just not there.
Yeah, I think we have to take our hat off to Jono Carroll too, because he's boxed absolutely brilliant here. His movement, head movement, foot movement, his shot selection, his variety, his angles, really boxed each other. You can see the improvements he's made. Really absolute first-class boxing display from Jono Carroll.
His quality has been terrific, and the fluidity of his movement from that southpaw stance. It's been really good to watch Jono Carroll and really hard to watch Scott Kвigg.
Yeah, absolutely, nail on the head. It's two fighters at different stages of the career. I think the curtain's coming down on Scott Kвигg. I hope that Joe Gallagher pulls him out at the end of this round, and I think it's the end of the road for Scott Kвigg. But Jono Carroll has got a big, bright future ahead of him now. He's made adjustments, he's made improvements since the loss to Tevin Farmer, and I think he can really push on from here.
Coming towards the last 30 seconds of round number 9, championship round. Scott Kvigg's eyes closing as well. Anthony Crolla just talking to Paul Smith. There's some real knowledge. So much over there around that blue corner. And even Matt alongside me is waving too. I think everybody in British boxing loves Scott Kвigg, and I think it will be the honourable and the right thing to do.
Yeah, he's a real warrior, and the brave fighters need saving from themselves. He'll stay in there all night long.
9 minutes to go. Left hand he starts, as he has almost every round, with a shot that gets through Jono Carroll. Stuck to his plan, his brilliant plan, devised by Albert Erpedian in the corner. A quiet man, a quiet trainer, unlike the personality in front of him, and in that ring, Jono Carroll, who could become a real star with that charisma he's got. I mean, on the dais at the press conferences, you can't stop him talking.
Yeah, full of charisma, real personality, Jono Carroll, great talker. And you know what, he's really improved here. I think he's gone up a lot since, you know, even the last couple of fights, the Tevin Farmer performance. I think, you know, Scott Kвigg is pretty stationary, and he's struggling with the pace, and his reflexes aren't what they were. His feet are slowing down. He's getting caught a lot. But no doubt Jono Carroll has made a lot of improvements too. So it's, you know, Quigg really going for it here, showing a lot of grit and heart, really trying to dig in and find something to turn this round. But it's just not his night. The speed isn't there. Carroll just a step ahead of him, outboxing him, outmaneuvering him, outthinking him, outpunching him. And, you know, this is really a one-sided beatdown really now.
What a fighter Scott Kvigg is. Incredible guts, this. It really is. Another body shot. He really... I mean, the safety of the fighter, though, despite the gladiatorial and tenacious efforts from Quigg, it's the safety of the fighter, and he's taken too much tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, far too much, and you know, it looks like it's only going to get worse. I mean, Jono Carroll hasn't shown any signs of slowing down, or you think maybe Quigg's going to wear him down and get him, but that's just not what I'm seeing. I think Quigg's getting slower, and it's Carroll that's getting faster and stronger.
And it's the accumulative shots as well, and at these lighter weights you do worry, and it's the fighter's safety that is paramount.
I mean, the ultimate question is, can he win the fight now? No, I don't think so. He hasn't looked like winning the fight. He hasn't looked like winning a round. So, you know, after 10 grueling hard reigns and a grueling hard career, I think this is where a great fighter like Scott Kvigg, a proud man, needs saving from himself. It's just, you know, for him to carry on for another 6 minutes, getting the head boxed off him, it's just unnecessary.
Last 10 of the 10th. Every round to Jono Carroll. What is Joe Gallagher alongside Anthony Crolla going to do? Are they going to stand it, Matt?
I mean, the only thing he has to gain by staying in there is pride, to keep his pride that he didn't get stopped. But, you know, Scott Kvigg doesn't have to prove his pride to anyone.
Right hand again from Jono Carroll. The quality of the punches has been fantastic from the fists of the Dublin southpaw. We've been talking a lot about Scott Kvigg in the last few rounds, but look at Jono Carroll now. He wants the knockout. He wants the big finish.
No, I mean, you have to admire Scott Kvigg, the heart and the grit, still willing himself on, trying to dig something out when he's been outboxed, outfought. You know, he took a lot of shots here, head and body, and still willing himself on. But, you know, the body, sometimes the body just won't do what the head and the heart tells it to do, and that's what's happening here.
Matt, we admire Scott Kvigg in bucket loads, but we also like him, and we respect him as a man and a fighter. And it's just the concern, that's all.
Again, another good body shot there from Carroll. That's a sickening shot to land, especially in the 11th round. We've already taken so many body shots straight down the middle into the solar plexus area.
Quigg determined to go the distance. To see it out. I remember Deontay Wilder's reaction when he was totally outclassed and beaten up by Tyson Fury a couple of weeks ago. He was sick when he was pulled out. That's a left hand though from Carroll, and it hurts Quigg. Backed up on the ropes, he really felt that one. And there's over a minute left in the round, and surely the referee must now be taking a look. There's no towel. Anthony Crolla's giving it to Joe Gallagher, who's not throwing it. And Scott Kvigg is in dire straits at the end of a terribly, terribly hard night. And finally, the towel does go in. Jono Carroll gets the win of his career, and he hugs Joe Gallagher straight away. I think he probably wanted to see that happen earlier. Scott Kvigg, brave, defiant to the end. Was it too long he was kept in there? There will be debate, there will be questions asked, but Jono Carroll gets the boxing night of his life. He does get the stoppage, and he beats Scott Kvigg. He outclasses Scott Kvigg from start to finish.
That was an absolutely flawless performance from Jono Carroll right from the very first battle. He was landing the straight shots, the 1-2 down the middle. He was landing that screw shot.
Hoa câu dùng trắng sân giường em mà hoa câu man mát hương châu.